Hi there. Let's hear some of the best Chuck Norris facts. Ready? Chuck Norris is so fast he can run around the world and punch himself in the back of the head. When Chuck Norris was a baby he farted for the first time. That is when the Big Bang first happened. Chuck Norris was exposed to COVID-19. COVID-19 had to go into quarantine for a month. Chuck Norris is able to build a snowman out of water. Chuck Norris didn't call the wrong number. You answered the wrong phone. Chuck Norris didn't cheat death. He won fairly and squarely. Chuck Norris walked into chemistry class and ripped the periodic table of elements off of the wall. Why? Because the only element Chuck Norris needs is the element of surprise. Chuck Norris tears cure cancer. It is a pity that he has never cried. Ever. Chuck Norris once wrestled a bear, an alligator, and a tiger all at once. He won by tying them together with an anaconda. Chuck Norris was once bitten by a poisonous snake, and after a week of excruciating pain, the snake died. There are no streets named after Chuck Norris because no one would ever cross Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris's mother tried to have an abortion. The procedure resulted in the doctor being knocked unconscious by Chuck Norris. If you put your ear next to a seashell you hear the ocean. If you put your ear next to Chuck Norris's boot you hear the opening riff to Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane. When Alexander Graham Bell first invented the telephone he had 3 missed calls from Chuck Norris. Freddy Krueger has nightmares about Chuck Norris. A rainbow happens every time Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks Richard Simmons. Chuck Norris doesn't pay taxes. Taxes pay Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once had an arm wrestling contest with Superman. I'm not going to say who won, but the loser had to wear his underwear on the outside for the rest of his life. Chuck Norris lost his virginity before his father did. When Chuck Norris was born the doctor asked him to name his parents. George Lucas couldn't cast Chuck Norris as Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars trilogy. If he did, it would be only 8 minutes long. 7 of those minutes are for the intros and credits. Chuck Norris never needs to flush the toilet. He always scares the crap out of it. The laws of physics always bend the rules for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris didn't get a COVID-19 vaccine. COVID-19 got a Chuck Norris vaccine. Chuck Norris eats his meat so rare that he only eats unicorns and dragons. Chuck Norris once played Russian roulette with a fully loaded gun and won. Whenever Chuck Norris leaves a room the Foo Fighters, My Hero, starts to play out of nowhere. Whenever Chuck Norris peels onions, the onions always cry. Chuck Norris can pull a wheelie when riding a unicycle. Chuck Norris was born with 2 umbilical cords, one red and one blue. The bomb squad cut the wrong cord. Chuck Norris makes a lot of money selling his urine. It is called Red Bull. Chuck Norris is able to slam a revolving door. The day after Chuck Norris was born he drove his mother home. He wanted her to get some rest. Chuck Norris built the hospital that he was born in. Chuck Norris knows exactly what to do with the drunken sailors early in the morning. Chuck Norris played a game of rock. paper scissors against his reflection, and won. When Chuck Norris went to Burger King and ordered a Big Mac, they made it for him, perfectly. The Swiss Army uses Chuck Norris knives. A condom puts on protection to avoid becoming impregnated by Chuck Norris on date night. Chuck Norris is able to start a fire using an extinguisher. Chuck doesn't need to throw out the trash, it always throws itself out. Chuck Norris is able to recycle toxic waste. Chuck Norris has to carry a concealed weapons permit when he wears his regular clothes. When Chuck once roundhouse kicked a coal mine and turned it into a diamond mine. Chuck Norris doesn't strike gold. Gold is the byproduct of Chuck Norris roundhouse kicking rocks. When police officers approach Chuck Norris, they say, "We have the right to remain silent." When Chuck Norris lifts weights, the weights get in shape. Chuck Norris is able to strangle people using a cordless phone. Chuck Norris is the reason that Wally is always hiding. When Chuck Norris falls from a great height, the ground has its life flash before its eyes. When Chuck Norris enters a building that is on fire, the Chuck Norris alarm rings. When Thanos snapped his fingers, he disappeared. Chuck Norris doesn't like snapping. The sun has to wear sunglasses when Chuck Norris glances at it. When Chuck Norris looked into the abyss looked the other way. The Grand Canyon was formed when Chuck Norris was doing a triathlon. Chuck Norris was on the swimming leg. Bigfoot is still hiding because he once saw Chuck Norris walking in the mountains. When Chuck Norris drops the soap in prison, he picks it up successfully. The Loch Ness Monster claims to have seen Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can drink a whole glass of beer. Yep, even the glass. When Chuck Norris uses the internet, he can skip ads whenever he wants. Ads are not able to skip Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris doesn't negotiate with terrorists. The terrorists negotiate with Chuck Norris. Okay folks, that was it for now. Goodbye, and don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out.